Is Mohammed bin Salman concerned about a new Iran conflict, as Saudi Arabia reportedly urges restraint over potential U.S. military action? The Gulf Kingdom is pushing back against further escalation as Donald Trump considers additional strikes on Iran, highlighting fears of a wider regional crisis. MBS has reportedly warned Trump to avoid steps that could intensify the confrontation, as Riyadh seeks to prevent instability from spreading across the region. Behind Saudi Arabia's concerns lies a growing challenge, balancing its fight against Houthi threats while avoiding being pulled into a larger Iran conflict. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman urged dialogue during a phone call with Donald Trump, emphasizing the importance of diplomatic engagement amid rising regional tensions. MBS stressed the need for diplomatic solutions to prevent a wider regional conflict, calling for efforts aimed at reducing escalation and maintaining stability. The Saudi press agency said the two leaders discussed regional developments and global impacts, including security concerns and the broader consequences of ongoing tensions. The Crown Prince called for steps that preserve security and stability in the region, highlighting the importance of avoiding actions that could further intensify conflicts. According to Axios, MBS raised concerns over the possibility of new U.S. strikes against Iran, expressing Saudi Arabia's interest in understanding potential future developments. The report said the Saudi leader sought clarity on Trump's plans for possible future military action, as regional countries continue to monitor rising tensions. MBS reportedly urged Trump to focus on de-escalation rather than additional strikes, emphasizing diplomatic approaches as a way to avoid a broader confrontation. This comes as Trump has not yet issued any final orders for a new military operation against Iran, leaving the possibility of further U.S. action uncertain. Trump appears to get cold feet and cancels fresh Iran strikes just as Mojtaba is warning Arab states about hosting U.S. attacks. Iran strike cancelled. Another dramatic Tucko Bowl moment from Donald Trump as he pivots from threats to talk of deals. Trump says he called off a planned attack on Iran after being asked to pause by Tehran and other Middle Eastern countries. Trump claims the U.S., Iran, and regional states have agreed on the perimeters of a new deal to end the war. In a Truth Social post, Trump vows that the deal would fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end Iran's nuclear threat. Trump insists the U.S. is locked and loaded but agrees to hold off strikes on Iran while negotiators try to seal the deal. Trump said, and I quote, "The USA is locked and loaded and ready to go against the Islamic Republic of Iran, at levels of military terror, strength, and power not seen since World War II. Despite this, we have just been asked by Iran, and other Middle Eastern countries, to hold off any attack in that the perimeters of a deal has been agreed to. This would include the immediate, complete, and total opening of the Hormuz Strait, and an end to Iran's nuclear threat. Based on this request, I have agreed, for the future benefit of the world and, likewise, the survival of a successful and prosperous Iran, to cancel the attack, subject to being able to rapidly make a deal. The country of Israel joins me in this commitment. Get to work, everybody, and get it done." Unquote. Trump and U.S. officials say the naval blockade and pressure campaign around Hormuz will continue until a final agreement is signed. IRGC-affiliated Fast News on July 31 listed major energy facilities in the Gulf and Israel as possible targets for retaliation. According to Iran International, the list covered energy sites across the Persian Gulf and offshore Israeli gas fields. The IRGC warned that all of these facilities sit well within the range of Iran's missile arsenal, making them legitimate targets. Iran International citing Fast News named, and I quote, Saudi Arabia's Ghora oil field, Abqaiq and Karai's facilities, the UAE's Ruwais refinery and Zarqam oil field, Qatar's North Field and Ras Laffan LNG facilities, Kuwait's Bergen oil field, Bahrain's Sitra refinery and Israel's Leviathan and Tamar gas fields. Unquote. The report also pointed back to Iran's earlier strike on Qatar's Ras Laffan gas facilities during the current conflict. Those Ras Laffan facilities were hit in direct response to Israeli and U.S. strikes on Iran's South Pars gas field. On July 31st, Iran reacted angrily to reports that the US and Israel were weighing strikes on its energy infrastructure. A senior Iranian security official blasted the idea of such strikes as a kind of madness, warning of massive retaliation. Tasnim citing the official said, and I quote, "Iran has prepared extensive response plans that include targeting critical infrastructure of Israel and US energy infrastructure in the region, and that Tehran is prepared to carry them out." Unquote. Reports say the US and Israel are preparing possible strikes against energy targets inside Iran. CBS News reported the potential campaign on July 31st, citing multiple sources, as relayed by Iran International. The mooted US-Israeli campaign could hit Iranian power plants, refineries, and other energy nodes. Reports emphasize that President Trump has not yet given final approval for those strikes. Trump has ordered a new round of strikes on Iran that could start as soon as this weekend, according to officials. The Wall Street Journal carried the same claim on July 31st, citing US officials, as quoted by Iran International. Trump has warned Tehran it will face heavy military action unless it comes back to the negotiating table. In a cabinet meeting at Camp David, Trump vowed the US would be hitting them very hard.
Iran is doing very poorly, just in case you read incorrect stories. They're doing very, very poorly. They're having a hard time. They've been very dishonest. They've been very dishonorable to deal with. But that makes no difference. They're doing very, very poorly. Their missiles have been largely, they have some left. They have some, but they have far fewer than they had 4 or 5 months ago. Their manufacturing capacity is almost gone. The drone capacity is almost gone. There are very few, but they have some. If they have one, that's too many as far as I'm concerned.
On your orders, we started in March 2025. In December of 2025, the largest bank in Iran collapsed. The central bank had to print money, caused inflation. Now they got 180% inflation. They aren't able to pay their troops. And on your orders, we are searching for their assets all around the world, and that money will go to the Iranian people, Americans who have been harmed by the Iranians, whether the USS Cole or the barracks in Lebanon, or it will go back to when the Iranians attacked these ships coming out. So it's been a privilege to be part of that.
What is the status of talks? Who from the administration
Well, they
is
always
talking
want to talk, but they break their word so often. Steve is talking, Jared, we have very good people. JD's involved, very strongly involved. We have great people talking. Marco's involved. They're all
they
involved.
say talks aren't happening.
Very good people. We have the best people. But they'll make a deal. As an example, we'll talk about nuclear. And we'll be in there talking about nuclear for 7 hours. I say, why do you need 7? You can take 10 minutes. You have 5 minutes. You should solve it. But 7 hours. And then they'll go out, and I'll say, they discuss nuclear. And they'll go out and they'll say, we never discussed nuclear. And I'll say, why do they say that? All they do is make me angry. You know, you just make me angry. Any other questions?
Do you believe that you can reach a deal with Iran, given that you talked about how disloyal they are?
I'm losing faith in them because they do lie and they do misrepresent. Well, the other day, the 5 missiles were shot. You know, we'll be hitting them. We'll be hitting them very hard. And, at some point, they're going to say, we just can't take it anymore.